shot.
DFS Army fam. It is NFL Week 16. We got 2 more weeks. Count them, Brandon. 2 more weeks of our season-long fantasy football. Of course, we hail from dfsarmy.com. If by chance you didn't follow the DFS Army draft kit and you're currently not in the playoffs, go hit it up. Go to dfsarmy.com, become a VIP member, follow the links below in the show description, and guess what? You can go and partake in the sweet, beautiful art that is daily fantasy sports. And game starts today, Brandon, and we are recording on the morning of Saturday, December 23rd, and there is a Saturday slate. Brandon, how the hell are you doing, brother? We missed you last week.
Good. I'm a little stressed because my dog is barking in the background, so I'm sorry to the audience. I just, last week was a little bit of a hockey weekend for me with my kids, so I wasn't able to come in and join you. But it was a good week. Crappy week for me in one league where you took me out. I picked you in our matchup. I picked you. I literally picked the man that did me in. Didn't expect Zamir White to have 17 points. Didn't expect Browning to have over 22 points. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect Stephon Diggs and Ayuk to combine for 12 points. So that was a big problem. So you took me out. So it was a bad week.
So the plan today, Brandon, is we're going to actually go through kind of the slate. We're going to have some overarching plans, but just in general, like you brought up a really good point. I had to do some flex starts because I was battling some injuries, and I rolled the dice, and guess what? I rolled sevens. I did well, and I won the matchup. Yep. This week, I'm coming in, and now I'm looking at, okay, am I going to be starting my de facto studs week in, week out, or am I going to be playing the matchup? For example, we were talking before the show. Terry McLaurin, he's been kind of up and down. He had his best week of the season last week. This week, he's up against the Jets. Do you start your stud, or do you start a Mason Rudolph-led Pittsburgh Steeler Deontay Johnson? It's rough out there in the streets, man. So what general approach do you have? Are you more of a DFS style in this week? Because really, it's 1 week or we go, or is it your player studs, play the guys who got you here?
Hey, man, it just depends on what kind of situation I'm in. If I need to go for the stars and if I need upside, I'll do whatever I have to with matchups. If I'm in control of the matchup, I'm just doing everything not to screw it up, pretty much. So it really just depends on how well ahead you are, or if you're a dog. But me, man, I like playing matchups. I like doing that stuff. And, sometimes it bites you, but sometimes, it can help you in a big way. DFS definitely has helped me overall with setting matchups and whatnot. But, you can get a little too cute, we call it. And you can definitely screw yourself out of it. But, matchups, you got to follow some matchups when they're present. So
what's really interesting is like a legitimate question people might have this week. Like, am I starting Austin Eckler or am I starting Ty Chandler? Which when I go over to dfsarmy.com and I check the chalkboard, which is what looks to be the most chalky players on the slate this week, Ty Chandler is right at the top there with the 24% projected ownership in DraftKings. So I know you're kind of like a little bit reluctant to play Ty Chandler.
I'm not chasing those points, man. I am not chasing those points. I think that is full-blown chasing points there, especially when you're going against Detroit. I think that is going to be a hard team to run on. You could throw the hell out of it on Detroit. You could do whatever you want through the air. You just can't run it. And I just don't see Ty Chandler being able to get to do it with that. And I think Detroit is starting to smell the playoffs now. And I think they're going to start locking down their defense and getting that really set up for the playoff run. I'm terrified of Tyson Chandler. I'm not starting him this week. I don't really have him, but in that situation, I just feel like you're chasing points in a lot of people are doing it. And I completely understand, because honestly, with the injuries this year, you kind of got to. You kind of got to do it. It's just insane. The injuries are out of control. I hear you, Brandon. I think it's just, I especially with Superflex leagues, man, it's ugly Superflex leagues right now. So
you know
it's
what's absolutely
crazy.
wild? So I'm looking at our, like, Dynasty's different, but when you look at our season long leagues, we play in almost strictly Superflex leagues just because I found that those are the most competitive and those are the most fun. When I'm looking at people who are the teams that are in the playoffs right now, it's players that don't have these studs, right? I mean, we like to play in auction leagues, and one of our more competitive auction leagues, the two guys who have by far, I think, the strongest teams. Shout out to Charlie and Isaac.
Yeah,
they
Charlie.
have they've hot trash quarterback, but it doesn't matter because half the league does too. The difference is you guys have hot trash. Everybody else has hot trash, but you spend all your money on the CMCs, the CD Lambs, the Tyreek Hills of the world, right? The Puka Nakuas, if you went out and spent your fab early on. Like, these are the types of players. And it's just the way that the season's gone, man. Quarterback typically is not the most injured position, but for whatever reason, 2023 was just a wild year for the quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 years, quarterbacks have been getting hurt a lot. And I think that's going to continue. I really don't see them being able to fix that. And I feel like there's going to be an adjustment by us where you don't got to have the most elite quarterbacks. You really don't. Like next year, shout out, next year, I'm going to be investing heavily in those quarterbacks from 9 to 12, 8 to 12, the Brock Purdy's, the Kyler Murray's, the Jared Goff's, players like that, and then just spending like crazy on my high end RBs. I'm just gonna shoot for the moon, take the dive with CMC, just get that guy on your team, and just pray that he doesn't go downhill next year. But I don't think he will next year. It was actually an interesting talk that I listened to with Jax Falcone and Theo Greminger. They were talking about CMC and what his Superflex dynasty value is and what you should be valuing CMC as. And Jax Falcone was like, he's my RB2, RB3.
Yeah.
Like, he is not – you got to treat CMC in his own tier, in his own thing. You can't just treat him like a normal RB because he's turning 28 next year. He's 27 this year. He's turning 28 next year. So you really my principles say sell him this year, always. Like, sell him this year. A player coming off of an epic history crushing year like what he's doing, and he's at age. Usually would say sell him. I did that with Cup. I did that. I did that with a few different players at their peaks, and it's paid off. But with hearing Jax Falcone talk about it, it made sense to me. You got to treat CMC at a different tier. It's
for sure. Of course, we got Isaac in the chat here. I knew you were looking in shadows there, Isaac. I know you were. We got Ash going in. How's it going? Crazy how 20. Yeah, no kidding, dude. I'm 38 and 28. Like, I feel young at a young 38. I think we're the same age, Brandon. And 28 in sports world is out of this world.
It's ancient.
What's going on? It's ancient. So we got a question here from, I think, Chow Chad. This sounds to me like more of a DFS question. So maybe this would be a better question for the geek. But listen, we
can answer.
We got a good take here. If you're all in on Mullins this week, would you double, triple, or even quadruple stack him, and with which weapons? I mean, listen, if you're going to go all in on Minnesota against Detroit, from a passing perspective, if you got Justin Jefferson, you're playing him, right? If you got Jordan Addison, especially after last week, you can show how productive he is, even with only 5 or 6 targets in a game. I mean, listen, you can't bank on 2 touchdowns, especially against a tough team like Detroit. And then TJ Hawkinson is pretty much locked and loaded. So then if you're going to quad stack, then you're looking at Ty Chandler. And last week he had a 12% target share. So that's anything over 10 for a running back is a lead. So, I mean, yeah, you could do it. The one thing I'd caution you on here, Chow, is that the implied team total for that game is only 22 points.
Yeah,
for the Minnesota Vikings.
that's a very unconventional way of doing it. Honestly, I would probably stack them with Addison and Hawk and just pray that the other two don't do anything, and you're a little bit different. And if you're going for big money, you'll be way different than the other people in that contest.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. So on DraftKings, probably because of the salary, he's only 5,300. I'm talking about Nick Mullins. He's got a 12% projected ownership, whereas on FanDuel, he's a little bit more expensive at 7,000 relative to the salary, and he's only 7% projected. So I mean, you could do it, but
I will say this: Jordan Addison has a smash matchup this week against Jerry Jacobs. Jerry Jacobs has been giving up 12.9 fantasy points per game. So that is somebody I would, if you're going to do that stack, Addison is 100% in the stack. He has the matchup versus everybody else. So follow Jerry Jacobs to the promised land.
Brandon, we're kind of all over the place. I mean, we do want to go through the slate here, but I got a question for you. Like every week we have more data. Every week we have more data on, especially like the rookie class. Okay, like if you're in a dynasty startup league starting, because they're going to probably start in earnest in January, February for degenerates like yourself, and you're ranking these rookie wide receivers this year, like I'm looking at, so Puka Nacua is in consideration.
He's one.
Is he one?
He's one. You got to.
Yeah. Jackson Smith and Jigba is JSN
he's two for me still. He's still two.
And then Jordan Addison or Zay Flowers is 3. And then
Jordan Addison
4.
3. Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I got it.
So basically, like the way that we ranked him at the start of the season, especially like the top, we called him the elite 3. We were consensus that Quentin Johnson was a teardrop. And if you looked at our rookie rankings, it was reflected that way. But Puka's one, right? He definitely
Puka's one. Jumped. Yeah, I mean, you can't like, as long as McVay is there, he is number one, dude. McVay is a superstar play caller, head coach. That guy is, if he deems you worthy, he will make you a superstar. And if you and Puka has done nothing to tell me that he is going to fall off a cliff this whole year, next year, if it's Stafford and Puka and McVay, Puka is still going to hold all of his value. And I mean, if anybody is scared about next year, that's something that I would try and jump on. Puka, I didn't see coming. I really didn't see coming. I don't think many people did. I think
nobody did.
People, Jax Falcone and our boy Matt were probably the only people.
Brandon, people like Puka. People like Puka. Like Matt, was on the show back in March before the rookie draft, and he was talking up Puka Nacua. But nobody, I don't care who you're, nobody projected this level of success for Puka in his rookie season. And then you just look, man, like he's overtaking Cooper Kupp as the number one in that offense.
He looks so much better than Cooper Kupp. It's unbelievable.
It's insane. It's just insanity. And okay, so Chow, just to kind of put a bow on this, because we do need to get to this. There's no way he's going to have obviously I think that's hyperbole, 70 pass attempts. But no, I mean, listen, the over-under for this game, let me just double check here. So the over-under for the game is 47 points. It is one of the higher over-unders, but I mean, the way that they're going to beat Detroit is by keeping the ball out of Detroit's hands, right? What is Detroit?
Yeah, they aren't going to beat Detroit, though, so they're going to have to throw. They're going to have to throw. Minnesota is not winning this game, period.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not. The Detroit has figured out, like, it's time to play some fucking football now. Like, you can see it in their mentality. You can see it with the coaching. You can see it how they're talking. It's a different deal. They're locking in, and they're starting to make their run now.
Yeah, and to Brandon's point, if you're going to diversify, like Ty Chandler, this is for DraftKings, 24% ownership. He's the highest.
Get off of him,
running back. Okay,
get off of him.
Jefferson, name brand, 22.76 to be specific,
get off
but 23%. If you're going to be different, it's with the Jordan Addison, 4.63% ownership, Hawkinson 8.85%, and then Nick Mullins 11.97%. That's how you're going to differentiate. So
if you're going to do cash games, if you're not in cash games, you should. If you're doing anything, not cash games, Ty Chandler should not be in your lineup. That's like the easiest chalk to fade to me.
Yeah.
And on the slate.
I like it. Okay, so this isn't really a flex play, but I'm just going to drop it because hey, it's the last show of the season for us.
He's my best friend. He's my pal. He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
We got a lot of good time boys today, Brandon. I don't know how that came out. I don't think that came out the way it was supposed to. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk through the slate here. We're not gonna dwell on any specific game, but we're just gonna go through and we're gonna talk about some of the players that we trust starting in fantasy, or frankly, are hands off in fantasy. So let's start with the let's start with the Saturday slate here. So let's go Cincinnati going up against Pittsburgh. It is a 38-point over-under. I actually had the decision between Jake Browning and Geno Smith. I ultimately am going with Geno Smith for obvious reasons.
Totally.
And, listen, okay, so from Cincinnati's perspective, like you're starting T. Higgins for sure. I know 100%. Tyler Boyd was a hot matchup. One of the areas you can actually beat Pittsburgh is in the slot. So Tyler Boyd might be a hot pickup, but it's really, to me, it's going to be Joe Mixon. It's going to be T. Higgins, and that's all.
Chris Brown.
Chase Brown, you mean?
Chase Brown is the other one that should be. He's been just exploding the last 2 weeks, and I think they see that Joe Mixon can't take all of the work.
Yeah,
like he just can't do it. I mean, so it's a good idea to get Brown in there and mix him in. Pittsburgh is atrocious against the running back position. I totally can see Brown and making some big splash plays, but that's all you're counting on with him. So don't expect him to like get a bunch of volume. Just expect if once he's going to be highly efficient and highly explosive. T. Higgins is going to get 12 targets this week. I love the fact that T. Higgins is suddenly becoming like this locked in nuclear option for teams late in the year, with Chase being down. It's just T. Higgins. Browning's proved that he can sling it. I think Browning has been nice. Like I've secretly been kind of like shocked about that. But T. Higgins is totally in play. I'm not real big into Boyd. I'd rather go with I'd rather play the satellite RB Brown over as a third option out of that offense, to be honest. That's just how I got it. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Chase Brown, he's first of all, he's a Canadian boy, so shout out to Chase Brown.
Yeah.
He's an athlete, right? That's his superpower. He is super explosive, and we saw it. Like, he can take it to the house. Joe Mixon's still going to be the guy getting the rock. And listen, I don't think that they expect Pittsburgh to be able to put up a lot of points against them. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of passes. Implied team total for Cincinnati is 20 points. Implied team total for Pittsburgh, again, Mason Rudolph is starting for Pittsburgh. That's not good. 17.
He's played with Deontay. I mean, he's got history with Deontay. I think out of the Steelers side, I would probably I'm playing Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren is the only explosive option out of the backfield. To be honest, I like watching Najee Harris is so. It's sad to watch. It's like a mix between Eddie Lacy and Trent Richardson. It's a weird look. But Jaylen Warren, pray to God that George Pickens actually blocks the person on the edge so Jaylen Warren can actually get into the end zone. That piece of garbage. George Pickens, if I played with George Pickens, I probably would lose my mind on him the effort. There is no effort with that guy outside of any time he gets the ball. I think the Steelers they're struggling for culture. I think they're struggling for belief in themselves, and I think Mike Tomlin, his voice is ringing hollow in there. That's like the first time we could say that Tomlin's team, he's lost the locker room, and that's it. I expect some major mix-ups in Steelerland for 2024.
I stand by this. I think Mike Tomlin is a top 3 coach in the NFL. Yep. The Pittsburgh Steelers and their fans. Like I like to listen to a lot of beat reporters, right? I like to get the pulse on what's going on in the respective cities. And right now, obviously, Pittsburgh, it's not looking good. It's not looking good.
So bad.
We could definitely see like Mike Tomlin leaving after this season. And one of the beat reporters, I apologize, I can't remember her name right now, but she was talking about like in terms of a team, there's no other team in the NFL right now that has a different perception of a team from a national market. So you and I, Brandon, versus a local market. The Steelers fans, they want Tomlin out. We're like,
wow.
Listen, look at the forest of the trees, people. He's one of the best coaches. Like, what's the common denominator here? George Pickens. We said it. The talent is there coming out of Georgia.
He has an attitude issue.
He is a knucklehead. There were stories of him. Listen, this is all alleged, so I don't want to get in trouble here. Of him bullying kids with disabilities when he was in high school. Right? This guy has an attitude problem, and he is infecting that locker room. It's not good.
Yep.
The talent is there, but man, when Mike Tomlin this week had to have a second press conference and address George Pickens and George Pickens' comments, it's shocking. It's outrageous. And listen,
I don't want to block because I don't want to get hurt. That's what he said.
God. I know. It's like, for one, you're not Tank Dell. Like, Tank Dell's a stud, but he's like 160 pounds, right?
Yes.
And it was on a run play, and he was inside blocking. It's just a completely different situation. It drives me insane. I don't trust George Pickens because he's a knucklehead. Listen, could he have a big game? Sure,
doesn't matter.
But I don't trust him in my lineup. Let's move on. I'm fired up. It makes me so upset. It makes me upset.
Yeah, he's
I'm
an
not
idiot.
even a Steelers fan. I'm not even. I could care less about the Steelers.
I think honestly, both Deontay and Pickens have a effort issue, and I think they both should really look in the mirror and see who's holding that team back. It's not Tomlin. It's you guys.
Totally agree.
Anyways, but yeah, we got what, Buffalo and the Chargers as well today too. You got any fire takes on Buffalo or anything like that? Because the Chargers are dead.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about the Chargers first. Like, Easton Stick, you're not starting Easton Stick. Austin Eckler, I think you can start him. It depends on your options, right? If you're in a dynasty league and you've got other choices, like I'm benching Austin Eckler in the one league that I have him. And I'm okay with it. You're just gonna have to roll with it. He could have a big game, but he could also bust. Other than that, Joshua Palmer, you can't trust him. He had a good game last week. He put up 21 points. Quentin Johnston, nobody. Let's move on. Let's just move on. I don't trust a lot of those players. Now on the Buffalo side, Josh Allen, of course, you're starting him. James Cook, listen, Brandon.
Oh my God.
You and I, we were roasted by Mike Dickinson on this very show last season because we were so high on James Cook. What's up, Mike?
Mike and you were high on it. I was the one that wasn't high on
you
James
were off
Cook
on
last year.
I
was off. Last year I was off on James Cook, but this year I was buying. Okay, there was a difference. But yes, I said last year not to expect this, and they finally did it. I'm actually shocked that they figured out that they need to run the football with Josh Allen. Like Josh can't do it all, dude. Josh can't do it all.
Just look at Zach Moss. Like, we hated Zach Moss, but like you give him a little bit of volume and he looks productive. Steph Diggs, you're starting. Gabe Davis, if you start him, it's either 20 or 0. Like, there's no in between.
No in between.
Buyer beware. And then Dalton Kincaid is not as effective when Dawson Knox is in, and he's injured. So how do you feel?
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see that. I see more Gabe Davis, more Diggs, and more Cook this week than anything. I think honestly, I think they're going to just try and get out of this game healthy. They know they're going to win this game. I just don't think. If it's me, because James Cook has been getting serious run lately, like serious run, I would almost kind of hold back on him because this is a garbage ass game. I almost wouldn't want to use him too much in this game because of the playoffs are coming and we're going to be using the hell out of him. So I just don't think they need James Cook as much in this game, but he should still be productive and still be fine. But I just don't think he's going to have his ceiling game in this one.
What I do like to see is that they're actually using all of their running backs. Ty Johnson got some work last week. Latavius Murray got some work last week. So if they're smart, they're going to continue to run the ball, which isn't going to be great for all of our Josh Allen managers out there, or Stephon Diggs managers. But you're still starting. I think
Diggs has to get back in. Like I think they know that they're going to start losing Diggs mentally if they don't get him the ball a little bit soon, this week.
I mean, you're starting Diggs every single week because of those blow-up games. Okay, let's move on.
Yep.
We already talked a little bit about the Detroit-Minnesota game. Over/under of 47 points.
Yeah, we're good on that one.
I think we're pretty solid.
Amon Ra to the moon. I think it's Amon Ra to the moon on
Yeah.
that one. I think Gibbs and Dave Monty are gonna have a little bit of a medium game to low game. Minnesota's tough against the run. I think if Gibbs is going to be successful, it's going to be through the air against Minnesota. Hopefully he gets himself 3 or 4 catches. That'd be nice to have him have a nice little floor with him. But I expect a floor game with Monty. I don't expect a huge game with Montgomery this week. Amon Ra is going to get hammered with targets this week. I just feel it. Also, Jamison Williams has a nice matchup as well. So I see some big plays, but you can't rely on him or anything like that. That's more of a DFS play.
Yeah, David Montgomery, I mean, he did get a 60% rush share last week, which we like, but he's kind of like the Brian Robinson profile right now, where unless he gets in the end zone, he's going to be disappointing. I'm in a league where I got to play him because I got no other choices, but you're banking for that. He might get you 8-9 points without the touchdown. It's risky, but sorry.
And in Dynasty, David Montgomery's a full sell for me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, but
move him. Anything you can, to be honest, because I expect Gibbs to get more work next year. He's going to be a superstar next year. It's going to be insane.
What's his contract, David Montgomery?
I don't know. I think he's there for at least another 2 years. I think it was a 3-year deal.
Yeah, it was a 3-year deal, so he's got 1 more year left. Okay, that's too bad. That's too bad. I wouldn't take anything less than a 2 for him because he's still a startable player. But I can see why.
Try David Montgomery in a little second piece for 25 first.
Yeah,
you never know.
Couldn't hurt. Okay, on Minnesota side, we kind of touched it. We know. I mean, if you've got Nick Mullins and you're streaming him, I'm okay with it, but it's not somebody I'm going out of my way to start. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Green Bay Packers versus the Carolina Panthers. This game looks atrocious.
Yeah.
You talked about like Aaron Jones on the Green Bay side is the only player I'm really comfortable starting. Tucker Kraft, man, like he's been quietly productive. So if you're in a desperate situation and you got to start Tucker Kraft, there's worse players out there that you can stream.
Well, it sounds like Watson and Reed practiced yesterday. So they should have their full complement of wide receivers. But honestly, if you're going by the metrics, if you're going by history of the year, we all know start your running backs and pound the rock against Carolina Panthers, except for Arthur Smith because he's an idiot and he has only one of the best talents at RB and in the league, But it was there for the taking for Arthur Smith and Bijan last week. It's not Bijan's fault. Bad weather game as well. Smash Aaron Jones. If you've been holding on to Aaron Jones and you're still in it, this is the week. He absolutely did great last week. He looked good, and he only had 50% of the snaps last week. I expect that number to go up, and I expect him to have a big week. I think he has 15, 20 points.
Yeah, he had 48% of the snaps last week, but he had 81% rush share. So
exactly.
When he was on the field, they were using him. Yeah. Exactly. So just to your point, though, Christian Watson, he's still got a doubtful tag. So he's still got a doubtful tag. Jaden Reed's he's questionable with the toe, but he's probably going to play.
He's playing.
So,
he's playing.
On the Carolina side, you can start Chuba.
Chuba.
Yeah,
Chuba's got a good matchup.
And Adam Thielen, man, I'm starting him again because I don't have too many other choices in my redraft leagues. He's still getting a 30% target share. He had a 30% target share last week. So in PPR leagues, he's got an okay floor of 10 to 12 points, but it's that offense is just putrid. So let's move on. Okay, next game we have is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Tennessee Titans. This one is interesting to me.
Here we go.
It sounds like, both Geno and Ken Walker are going to be healthy and they're going to be playing, which we love to see that, right? They've got the full complement of players. JSN, man, I think he's slowly overcoming and becoming that wide receiver 2 in that offense, right? He's still only playing in 3 wide receiver sets primarily. Tyler Lockett's still that wide receiver 2, but god damn, he just looks so good, man.
He
player
does
that we thought he could be. And you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, so congratulations. They look good.
Yeah, so here's the thing. So JSN, as of right now, he is running all the stuff out of the slot. So Tennessee isn't the team that gives it up in the slot too much. It's actually the outside wide receivers. So this is going to be more of a DK and Lockett game. I actually really like Lockett in this game this week because he actually has the best matchup of them all. As of right now, Jackson Smith is going to be covered by Roger McCreary, which is the best corner for Tennessee out of the slot. He only gives up 6.5 face points allowed per game. DK Metcalf is going against Sean Murphy Bunting. He gives up 7.3. And then you got where's that Lockett at? I gotta keep scrolling down the corner list here because he's so far down.
Well, while you're doing that, just to your point about the distribution, so 69% of the fantasy points are going to the wideouts, versus only 31% is going to the slot wide receivers. So that's per Rasball. So yeah, it's rough. I'm still playing Jason in one league because again we play in deep leagues, but do I feel great about it? Not really. But
Not
sometimes,
really.
man, the studliness just rises to the top. That's where I'm dealing with a few injuries. Got Jamar Chase in that league, so you got to do what you got to do.
I agree with you. I think it's just going to be the outside wide receivers here, and I think Ken Walker is going to struggle this week.
Why?
I just don't, dude. I just don't see them. The way you take advantage of Tennessee is through the air with the RBs, and Ken just doesn't get that work. So I just feel like this is going to honestly, it's a pass funnel. This is going to be a Geno DK Lockett game. Period. Are
you starting is Ken Walker? You're starting no matter what, though, right?
You got to. I mean, you have to if you have him. Yeah,
he looked so good last week.
Yeah, he looked great.
He was that Seattle offense up until that last drive of the game, essentially.
Oh, dude, when he was running that touchdown, when he was running that 30-yard touchdown in, I was literally hands like this, looking at it. Because that was the run that fucking put you over the top and beat me in the matchup. And I was like, it was awesome to watch as a Seattle fan. And then I was like, oh, that's it. It's over. It's over.
It's so hard to divorce our fantasy teams and our fantasy love for our real life NFL love. It's tough, man. I'm a Patriots fan, and it's been rough on those streets this season. What about the Tennessee side, man? I mean, Ryan Tannehill sounds like he's going to be starting because Will Levis has got the high ankle sprain. Yeah. I mean, you're starting Derrick Henry. I kind of start Tajay Spears in a league, and I want to kill myself. But I mean, he's got upside, but it's risky as hell.
Did you hear Derrick Henry's quotes this last week?
What do you say?
He pretty much said that his career is over in Tennessee. He's done. So
because he wants out or what?
No, he just feels that this was the last year for that regime, for like that era of Titan football. I think he said that to me in the conversation in the quotes, he made it sound like he's done in Tennessee. So Tajay Spears is a major pickup for dynasty managers if that's the case. I expect Tennessee to get themselves another RB, though, just for depth purposes and whatnot, for sure. But Tajay Spears is super, super, super explosive. Seattle can't stop the run, can't stop RBs through the air either. So Tajay Spears is a sneaky start this week through the air. If he gets some work through the air, I actually like that for DFS purposes. But D-Hop is going to be on covered by Tariq Woolen. Woolen has been giving it up this year a little bit, not like the Pro Bowl or the All-Pro year last year. He's not the same guy, it seems to me, this year. D-Hop can definitely get his if Ryan Tannehill is at least a little bit accurate.
Yeah, it looks like the Titans have an out after this season with him. So he's got 2 more years on his contract.
It's over.
No, I think he's done.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's done.
It's just a cap hits for the next 2 years, but it sounds like, oh my God, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Derrick Henry will not be a Titan next year. Period.
There it is. Well, I mean, he was one of these players that was heavily talked about at the trade deadline as well, right?
Oh yeah. I'm actually surprised he just didn't get traded and do it. If I was him, I would have done it. But I think he wanted that. I think he wanted to finish his career as a Titan. So I don't know if he's done or if he's moving on, but it sounds like at least he will not be back. So
yeah, he definitely isn't going to be back as the Titans, but he's like 30 years old.
yeah, he's old.
He's 29. He's going to be 30 next season. So yeah, that's to talk about ancient for at 28. That's ancient for a running back, especially for a player of his style. Next up, let's talk about Indy versus Atlanta. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's going to be healthy, so you're starting JT.
Gotta start him.
It sounds like Zach Moss is still
he's done. He's out. Yeah, he's going to be out this week.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be out this week. He's had 0 practice time. Serious arm injury, it sounds like. Also, Pittman is back. He passed concussion protocols. So everybody's going to be super happy to have Pittman. It's a tough matchup, though. I'm not going to lie for Pittman. It's a tough matchup. Yeah. Atlanta's pretty decent defense through the air. You know, Atlanta's been playing people tough, but the question of the game is, you know what the question of the game is.
Bijan?
Is Bijan going to get the workload he deserves and for the matchup purposes? I think because of how bad, Atlanta radio was on fire about Bijan not being used last week. So I expect a full swing to Bijan this week, because that's what these stupid coaches do, is when they get yelled at by these fans and you're on the hot seat, they're going to just give in, dude. I just have a feeling that Bijan is going to he's going to erupt this week because of what happened last week.
So Bijan being a stud, check. That's
easy.
I'm
playing
the matchup, the number 30 ranked defense, rush defense.
Yes,
check. Last week, even though he didn't do much, and on the season he's got a 16% target share. Check. That's elite. Taylor Heineke's in the game, so they're probably going to want to run the ball a lot. Check for Bijan. Drake London, you're probably reluctantly starting him because you might have to, but
he's an average matchup. He can do okay, but don't expect a ceiling game.
No, you're praying for the touchdown with Drake London, which you can certainly get. Kyle Pitts, massive disappointment.
I don't even like talking about Kyle Pitts because it's just frustrating.
Yeah, all right, let's move on. Okay, this one is interesting for me. We got the Cleveland Browns going up against the Houston Texans. Now, CJ Stroud is out still. He's now missed a couple of games. And that's scary, man. Whenever players miss multiple weeks because of a concussion, that's never a good situation. Joe Flacco, though, man, on the other side, like he's been studly. Three interceptions last week, which we don't love, but man, if you got Joe Flacco right now, you riding that hot hand.
So this is how you're playing this: Joe Flacco, Njoku, Elijah Moore, and Jerome Ford. Those are the only people I'm using out of that offense. Derek Stingley is going to take Amari Cooper out of this game, completely out. Like, Derek Stingley Jr. is a beast, a dog. The Houston Texans secondary has changed 100% since Derek Stingley's been back off of injury. I really like Njoku this week. Njoku is going to continue this freaking run that he's on. Everybody's been talking about, how many years have we been talking about the upside of Njoku, right? And now we're finally seeing it. It's freaking awesome to see that, because, you know, we've been waiting for the tight end position to actually kind of get some depth and some quality to it. And I think we're finally getting that, man. I think we're finally getting that, where, you know, like, I think this year is going to be the year where you're on the first place teams, you're going to see a variety of tight ends, not just two of them. You're going to see a variety of first place teams with different ways of doing it, with Trey McBride, Njoku, Jake Ferguson, Laporta, you know, Kelsey, and Hawk. You're going to see, and Kittle, and also Kittle. You're going to see a major variety of tight ends, first place teams, which is quite nice to have, because it was so annoying that you had to have two players to be able to actually have an advantage at a position. It's just crazy. But, you know, now it's a lot better. So 2024 and beyond, that is going to be a great value. You're going to be able to fade those top tier tight ends and get your value later. is fantastic.
Yeah, well, then even next year, it's Brock Bowers, right? Is coming in, and
another guy.
I mean, apparently he's even a higher quality prospect than Kyle Pitts was.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, it looks good for. And you didn't even mention Evan Ingram. Like he's
and
finally having
Evan Ingram. There's another one. Yeah, he's been on fire lately. Yeah.
So if you just rolled Snake Eyes and you didn't get any of those players, well, too bad. Or if you happen to get Mark Andrews and you lost him, and now you're streaming a guy like Cole Kmet, then it is what it is.
It is.
On the Houston side of the ball, I don't really trust any of these players. Again, Nico Collins, it sounds like he's going to be playing, but Case Keenum is starting. And you look at just the matchup against Cleveland. Cleveland they're an elite level. They are a Super Bowl quality defense. What are you going to do? You're going to play Nico Collins because you're going to pray for the target share, but you don't feel great about it. Devin Singletary, maybe
you can play him.
Flex.
Yeah, you can play him if they end up, No, Pierce is done.
Point, Pierce is, which is shocking to me. It's just
that's crazy.
Shocking. Okay, so going back to the whole James Cook conversation, the reason you were so off James Cook was because the Bills love Devin Singletary, and size, but also Devin Singletary. Now Devin Singletary comes into Houston,
ruins my guy,
ruins Dameon Pierce. Like,
yeah,
what sort of photos does Devin Singletary have of all these coaches?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, for sure. It's just crazy because Dameon Pierce looked so good last year, and he just fallen off a cliff, man. I don't understand, but hey, it's what it is. Running back turnover is crazy in the NFL. Like to be able to have a consistent running back is, I think it's starting to become like the cheat code. If you have it's become like what the tight end position was. If you have if you have the RBs like CMC, or Rashad White this year, or, guys that are staying on the field. Yeah, Travis Etienne. If you're getting guys that are staying on the field, that's the cheat code, unfortunately. And now, it's just there's so many platoon RB, groups. It's just that way now. It's just kind of crazy.
Is what it is. Let's talk about the Jets versus Washington. This game's kind of nasty and gross and disgusting. Trevor Siemian's going to be starting, which I don't know. You're probably starting Breece Hall just because Breece Hall's a stud.
Start Breece.
You're probably starting Garrett Wilson because you don't have any other choices.
You love Garrett Wilson this week, dude. Garrett Wilson scoring this week. I think Garrett Wilson is going to have a big week. Washington can't stop a nosebleed on the outside. They play man at the highest rate, at one of the highest rates in the freaking league, and they have nobody to do it. I don't understand why they haven't adjusted. Why aren't you a heavy zone team if you got corners that can't man up? I don't get it. So, but they're still doing they're still manning up. Fucking Garrett Wilson to the moon this week. He's gonna have 20+ points.
Yeah, the 30th ranked pass defense. So that's gonna be good. On the Washington side of the ball, Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson is out, which we already talked about earlier in the show. Antonio Gibson is okay, but we got him projected at 10 points in PPR, which I think you can do better. But if you needed a flex, now on the receiving side of the ball, Brandon, it is the stone cold worst matchup. The Jets are their best pass defense in the league. I am benching Terry McLaurin where I have him. For Deontay Johnson. So I guess it depends on your options. Last week, TMC did have the best game of the season, but I'm not confident in literally any of these players. Not confident in Curtis Samuel, not confident in Jahan Dotson, not confident in Logan Thomas. So honestly, if you
honestly, if you have any other options besides Washington players, I would use those other options. That's just how I got it.
Beautiful. All right, let's move on to the Jaguars versus Tampa Bay. Now, this is interesting because we need to know if Trevor Lawrence is going to be clear from concussion probably today.
He's going to play.
We'll find out likely this afternoon if he's going to play. So that's going to be huge for all of these players. Zay Jones, I believe, is ruled out. Is he not?
I don't know.
I was just looking at it. Injury summaries. Yeah, Zay Jones is doubtful. So it doesn't.
Washington's in. Yeah, Washington is in. Yeah.
Yeah. So Parker Washington, Matt, another one of Flex Matt's guys was Parker Washington in the offseason.
Yep. Another
fantastic matchup. Actually, this game in general is going to be very, very, very favorable, I think, for the receivers. So you're probably going to start these guys. I don't have confidence if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play for the Jacksonville wide receivers. But all right, man, money on the line. Are you starting Calvin Ridley this week?
100%. I don't care if Trevor is playing. I'm playing Ridley. You play your outside wide receivers against Carlton Davis and this Tampa Bay defense. This defense cannot stop anybody. So if Ridley is going to have a wide receiver 1 week, it is going to be this week. This is the week I've been waiting to put Ridley in. When I was looking at matchups on some of my dynasty teams, I saw that this is the week that Ridley was going to have a smash week. I love that. I'm starting Ridley no matter what. I don't care if it's Beathard or Lawrence. I think Beathard is more than capable of throwing to a wide open Ridley in this game. I think Etienne is going to struggle. Vita Vea is back. Etienne is going to have a hard time running between the tackles this week. He should get himself some passes, though. Yeah. I expect him to get some good work out of the air. But Ridley, dude, Ridley and Ingram have the matchups, okay, for the Jags. Yeah. Those two should kill it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not pitching Travis Etienne because he's been so productive, and we just talked about he's been one of those reliable running backs, but he's going to be productive through the air. So if Jacksonville is devising your game plan, it's going to be to get him the ball in the passing game. That'd be productive. One thing I do like about Jacksonville is that they run almost 62 snaps per game on the offensive side of the ball, which ranks number 7. So it's just there's more opportunity for fantasy points. And then on the other side of the ball, Tampa Bay, they're going to have to keep up. They're going to have to keep up. Start your Rashad White.
Yeah, they've been shooting out in every week almost, man, with Tampa Bay. So I think Lawrence is going to play. I think I was listening to Pat Kerwin. They were like, they would have said he wasn't playing a while ago if he wasn't going to play. So I think he's training to play, and we're going to see a shootout with that game.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, listen, Baker Mayfield, he's been a great find for Tampa
Mike
Bay.
Evans should kill it too.
Mike Evans should kill it. I mean, Chris Godwin had the best game of the season last week. He had a 44% target share last week, which was the best on the season.
Did you hear that? It was because his wife was complaining on Twitter.
I heard about that, yeah.
The week before.
I don't know how much I buy that crap, but maybe.
Dude, you never know, man.
And Kate Otten, man, they have a fantastic matchup. It's the number 26 ranked matchup in PPR for the tight end position.
That.
Kate Otten, if you've been having to stream tight end and you've been playing Kate Otten, like, you've been doing okay. So not the most comfortable, but I think that you could do certainly worse.
I think a nice play action on the 2 yard line for a tight end to Otten. I could totally see that.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to one of my favorite games of the week. Now, there's 2 games this week that you really want to have your eyes on. Of course, the San Francisco-Baltimore game on Christmas Day, but tomorrow, Christmas comes early, baby, because we got the Dallas Cowboys going up against the Miami Dolphins. And I'm just going to say, start everybody. Just start everybody. Just start everybody. Right?
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. I think Tyreek. This is the Cowboys play a lot of man.
Yeah. Oh,
Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is going for 2,000 yards, right? Yeah. I think he is going to make up for last week, dude. I think it is a complete makeup week for Tyreek Hill. I could see him in the box twice this week because McDaniels is that kind of guy where he is like, you want 2,000 yards? We're going to do it for you. Like that is the type of coach he is. And I can see him just scheming up, bomb plays against Gilmore and with Tyreek Hill. I think he's going to crush Gilmore. I think it's going to be bad.
It's going to be very, very, very good. And on the other side of the ball, like Dallas is coming off a letdown last week, so it's going to be a fun game.
I like Fergie. I like Fergie this week a lot.
Jake Ferguson, yeah.
I like Fergie a lot. Pollard is going to struggle again this week. Dude, I think he's done. I think honestly, I don't understand it. I just saw that he's 35th for efficiency as for RBs. 35th. That is horrendous. Like he went from like the most efficient player in the NFL last year to this, and it blows my mind that I just don't think it's all about Zeke being there or not. I think it's major shift change in scheme. with McCarthy that has created this. The running game is just not as good as it was last year because they just aren't using it as much. But I love McCarthy. He's going to be throwing the ball. I think Fergie's in play. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to smash again. And we're going to see if they can keep up with the Miami Dolphins. I don't think they can. I think Tyreek Hill is going to. I think he's putting up 40 this week, 35, 40 points.
So if the season ended today, Brandon, Tyreek Hill would have finished with 12 receiving touchdowns, pretty damn good, 1,542 receiving yards. So he's got, he still has a little bit of homework to do, but it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility that he's going to get to that.
He's going to have 150 plus this week. I'm telling you, he's going to have 150 this week. They are going to, I'm telling you, McDaniels, they all know that these Cowboy games are big viewership, all that stuff. McDaniels has got swag to him, dude, as a coaching coach. He likes to get his players to show off on big moments. I love that. I love that about McDaniels. He thinks about that shit, man. Yeah, he really loves getting his players schemed up and dominating. And I just think McDaniels is going to have Hill cooking this week.
So if my math is correct here, Brandon, we've got 3 games left in the season. He has to basically get 152 receiving yards per game to hit that 2,000-yard mark. It is absolutely in the range of outcomes that it can happen, and we're cheering for it, man. Listen,
give me 200 this week. Come on, Tyreek, give me 200 this week.
Yeah, rest in peace for those of you going up against Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Rest in peace, boys.
Yeah, let's for the game of fantasy, we're cheering for it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the Arizona and Chicago game. Hollywood Browns.
I like this game.
You like this game?
I like this game. I think this game shoots out. I think Justin Fields has a rushing touchdown this week. I think Justin Fields gets DJ Moore this week, hits DJ Moore for big touchdown plays. I think Kyler Murray is going to feed the living hell out of Trey McBride. Trey McBride is going to he's going to end up in the end zone. I could totally see him having a monster game. Michael Wilson is back, isn't he? Michael Wilson's back. He's healthy. I think he has a nice game. If you want a nice sneaky play in DFS for a value, Michael Wilson is one of those guys. The Bears give it up. I think they gave up 7.2 points per game to the slot position, a wide receiver slot position. So that is top, one of the top plays of the week out of the slot to attack. I think James Conner is a monster play this week as well. I really think this game is going to be a lot of points, even though it's 2 garbage teams. I think it's going to have a lot of points in it.
What's really interesting is that Justin Fields in interviews this week, it sounds like he's kind of like, thank you for Chicago for this opportunity.
Oh, he's out.
The way he's talking, it's almost a foregone conclusion at this point, which I get, right? If they're going to change the coaching regime, like it's just, they're going to start fresh. And you brought up a really good point. If Justin Fields has done enough, I think to say he deserves to be a starter in the NFL. But when he can get off of his and just reset that rookie contract wage scale and build around him, and then you have a stud like a DJ Moore to kind of be that number 1 wide receiver for a young, likely Caleb Williams coming in. Has Caleb declared yet, Brandon?
I don't think he's declared, but he said he isn't playing the bowl game, so he's declared.
So he's probably going to be playing. Okay, that's interesting.
He's not playing.
What about like the running backs? Deontay Foreman, Roshan Johnson. It is the best. It's the number 32 ranked. You're out, but both they've got the stone best matchup this week.
I got it. I understand. Good luck trying to figure out which one. That's why I'm telling you, Justin Fields is going to run one in. This is a showcase game for Justin Fields for next year. Yeah. He needs to dominate this game, dude. And
they're going to get a 1, right? They're going to get a 1 for Justin Fields, I would think. Right?
I think a bottom end 1. Yeah, they got to. But I'm just telling you, if I was his agent, I would say, Justin, you have to dominate this game. This game is going to tell me who you're going to get traded to. This is going to be the game. They're going to be watching these last few games to see what you do. And this is a plus matchup for you, Justin. So you better fucking perform. Like, that's what I would tell him as an agent.
So I understand it's kind of, it'd be tough because of the division they're in, but I could see Justin Fields being a really good fit in Minnesota. Now, whether or not they would ever trade it to Minnesota, I don't think that's realistic. But he would be a great fit.
I like it. Dome, Atlanta. I'm telling you, Atlanta's the one.
Studs. Yeah, Atlanta makes a lot of sense.
Tons
out of the division. Ooh, that makes me tingle
Dude,
inside.
That's why I'm buying Drake London. I'm buying Kyle Pitts. I'm buying Bijan, like before the actual trade happens, because I think that is super viable.
All right, let's talk about a trashy McTrash game, which is still the evening game, which is wild to me on the 24th. But the Patriots going up against Denver Broncos. I mean, I don't know what to say about this game.
Sutton and Zeke, and that's it.
All right, Sutton, Zeke, that's it. I'm okay starting DeMario Douglas just if in a PPR league as a flex 2, like as your second flex. Like you can start
Zeke.
DeMario Douglas.
I actually like Zeke bouncing back this week. I think he has a nice bounce back week. He played on a short.
Yeah,
Ramondre's out. Ramondre's out. Like, there's nothing else. This is a good matchup against Denver's like bottom 5 against the RB position.
Bottom 2.
Yeah, bottom 2. There you go. Bottom 2. So start Zeke. Enjoy. I mean, it's a nice get if you have Zeke right now.
All right, Kansas City versus Las Vegas. I don't know what to believe with Las Vegas, but
Josh Jacobs will play.
Yeah, you're starting Devontae. You're probably starting Jacoby. I've heard a few smart people out there because of the matchup that a lot of people are fading Jacoby. He's getting this. Like, I still like his 20% target share, man. Like,
I don't care. He's playing against who's the freaking slot out of Kansas City? I forget his name. He's a stud though. I'll find it real quick here. But go ahead.
Okay. Okay. And what Josh Jacobs or Zamir White, whoever starts? It sounds like Josh Jacobs is going to start.
He's playing.
Hopefully you've got Zamir White just in case. But obviously, you're starting Josh Jacobs.
So Trent McDuffie is the one is going to be covering Jacoby, and Trent McDuffie is a stud. He's been really good all year. So I think Pacheco is going to play this week. Yeah.
Here's the thing, and so this is one of the fantasy doctors is Dr. Jesse Morse, and he is convinced that it's too soon for Pacheco to be playing because he
just had surgery.
The nature of the injury, there's a high probability of re-injuring it. It sounds like not a doctor, but that's what it sounds like. So if you have Pacheco,
you got to do it.
You got to kind of start him, and obviously you can't play CMC or Jake McKinnon, right? If Pacheco plays, or can you? As a flex, we're talking. We're like a flex 2.
I would. I mean, if Pacheco's playing, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
McKinnon's was on the injury report. I know. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a personal day too, so he didn't practice. But I'm telling you, Pacheco's a tough guy. I understand what that doc is saying, but doctors are proven wrong every fucking day. So let's just take the shot, Pacheco, and do work. I think that's exactly what he's gonna do. You got to play him if you got him. You've been waiting for this. He's got a great matchup. I like Rashee Rice this week a lot. I think Rice gets in the box this week. He's got himself a good matchup, and he's been getting so many red zone looks. It's crazy how many red zone looks he's getting. And with all this Tony drama, I think Tony's role will be smaller and smaller as it gets more serious into the playoff run. Kelsey looks like he's old. I don't know. I'm just praying that he gets me his value that he's projected to get. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking for with him. And that's about it for me on that game.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on. We only got 2 more here. Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants. I still think you're starting your studs, right, for the Eagles. You're starting Jalen. You're starting DeAndre Swift. You're starting A.J. Brown. You're starting Devonta Smith. Starting Dallas Goedert. What about Gainwell in a pinch? If you're
Gainwell?
Yeah. He's getting more usage every single week, man.
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah, he is getting more work than I'm comfortable with as a Swift owner.
Frankly, yeah.
But it's actually kind of ugly when he comes in because it kind of throws the rhythm off a little bit to me. But I don't know. I'm not going there, but I would find a different way.
Yeah, okay, I think that's fair. I think that's the right answer.
I would find a different
and then on the Giants side of the ball, I mean, if you somehow made it with Saquon Barkley, you're probably starting him despite the fact it's an extremely tough matchup. If you have any of these wide receivers, the only one I'd be willing to start would be Wan'Dale Robinson. Robinson.
It's Darius Slayton. Slayton's going to be getting Bradbury.
Okay. They all and even Darius Slayton, his target share is definitely increasing. So I don't love it. It's way too risky in my opinion. But desperate times. What about Darren Waller? He had a 17% target share last week. So you probably, if you can sit him, I would. I just
I don't trust him. Yeah.
Okay. Enough said. Let's finish her out here because we're at an hour. San Francisco versus Baltimore, brother.
Here
Start
we go.
Your studs, man. Start your studs.
Yeah. Odell's going to be out, it sounds like, right? Yeah. Odell's out. He has I wish he was healthy, dude. He had the matchup. Zay should be getting so many targets in this game. I could see him just getting – maybe Bateman can have himself a little blow-up game if Odell is out. But honestly, he hasn't. He's done absolutely nothing. He's dead to me. But I'm just saying for like DFS purposes, if you want to get weird, that could be something. But I think Lamar Jackson is just going to have to run his ass off in this game. Yeah. I think he's going to have to get 80 to 100 yards rushing to win this game. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a Lamar game. It's going to be. If Lamar. Listen, I think the winner of this game is going to be the winner of the MVP. Period. It's going to be either Brock Purdy and I don't think. Listen, I don't
Brock
think
Purdy or Lamar.
I think those are the top two in running. It should either be a Tyreek Hill or a CMC, as far as I'm concerned, or Lamar. But if Brock Purdy has a good game this week, again, I think they win. It's going to be Brock Purdy or Lamar. If Lamar wins, he's cashed in the MVP vote, as far as I'm concerned. What about Isaiah Likely? He has been quietly productive.
He's good. You could totally play him. Yeah. Like he is definitely viable. He especially against this secondary because you can. It's just there's gonna be a lot of play action, and I think there's gonna be a lot of room for Isaiah Likely if they do the play action correctly and move Lamar a little bit. He's gonna be dragging across and getting himself some easy yards. I think he's gonna have some easy receptions in this game. But yeah, I think he's gonna have red zone looks. I think Gus Edwards is in play as well. If you are looking for a RB, with Mitchell going down with that severe ACL, which was sad to watch, man. His leg just bent. It was gross looking but he was fun to watch. I think next year he's a nice guy to go get in this offseason, just to go get for deep stash next year. Yeah. But Gus Edwards is going to get a touchdown. He is going to get a red zone touchdown. He's not going to get big plays, but he will get you touchdowns.
J.K. Dobbins has gone after this year. Derrick Henry, Baltimore Raven, who says no.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah. That would be nice. Their offense. And then on the San Francisco side, I get if you're looking at your matchups, it's a whole lot of red. I get it, but you're starting your studs.
Doesn't matter.
Starting CMC, Debo, Ayuk, even after a soft week last week.
I'm so mad at Ayuk, dude. I'm so mad at Ayuk. He's been, oh my God, I'm so mad. He ruined that team. I can't believe that. But it's all good. It's all good. Ayuk, of course, man. Ayuk had the smash matchup last week. He'll probably blow up this week, right?
That's just how it is, brother.
That's probably how it works. It's all good.
So that's it. A little bit different style, man. We're going through every game. It's kind of fun though. Like you just dissect each game and you look at more of a broader perspective, which I enjoy. Good luck in your fantasy football semifinals, and hopefully you make it to the finals, all of you, next week. And good luck there. Listen, for those of you, this is my last recording of the season. Oh, I say season until January, right? I'm gonna miss next week. Merry Christmas to all you, those who celebrate. Happy holidays to everybody else. Be safe. Be safe. Do not drink and drive. Please call an Uber, call a Lyft, call your mom, whoever. Don't drink and drive. Be safe out there this holiday season, and have some fun with the family. Now is the time to just sit back, relax, watch a little football on Christmas Day, and just recharge that battery, man. Brandon, it's been an absolute pleasure broadcasting with you this season. Let's cash some freaking checks, man. Let's go and get across the finish line in our playoff fantasy football pools. And listen, after the season is over and you've got all that cash sitting in your bank account, go to dfsarmy.com, get a VIP membership, and go play all of those playoff slates, man, because those are fun. For Brandon, I'm Flex Shane, and we are the DFS Army Fantasy Football Show. Go crush souls.
Big time, no man, diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine.